Hello, McKenzie. It's so nice to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome, Elijah. It's great to be here. I'm so excited to speak with you, speak with your audience, and dive in about inner strength, resilience, and confidence.
Beautiful, and thank you so very much for being here. You see, I truly appreciate you. And you see, Mackenzie, oftentimes I love to thank my guests for two things. And I do this so often to the point where it has become my anthem. So, firstly, Mackenzie, I want to say thank you so very much for investing in yourself. You see, you are on this platform right now because you did invest that in yourself. And oftentimes, Mackenzie, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. You see, some couple of months back, I was on a particular road, and just by the roadside, Mackenzie, there was this very tall, unattractive mango tree. And I used the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it and the leaves were all dry. So I just walked past it and I went my way. But you see, Mackenzie, just recently I was on that same road. And this time around, a lot's changed about the mango tree, you see. The mango tree caught my attention pretty good from a distance. And immediately I got the urge to move so close to it, of which I did, and it wowed me. Because now the mango tree's got a lot of mangoes on it, beautiful green leaves and healthy branches, and not just mangoes now, Mackenzie. I'm talking about ripe mangoes. It was such a beautiful experience, and I was so excited. Here is my point. The fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing Mackenzie that you are today, that alone has made it impossible for me to skip you. And that's why you got the request from me to be on the show because I was attracted to the fruit of all that you're doing, your philosophies, your insights, the impact your work is having, and how you are offering your solutions, Mackenzie. This stuff's so beautiful. And just before I sent you that request, I said to myself, I've got to benefit from these beautiful things Mackenzie is doing. And not only me now, because I don't want to be selfish, and even with the audience. And here we are today with the amazing Mackenzie. So thank you so very much for doing that to yourself. And secondly, thank you for saying yes to the invite. Because if you had said nope, there was nothing Elisha could do about it. Thanks so much, Mackenzie.
I'm happy to be here. And I love mango, so I love that comparison.
So let's get started. You see, I am quite excited to have you on the show today for some reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. I believe in order for one to transition from a terrible situation to that of a beautiful one, Mackenzie, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, quality information, and not just knowledge alone, but the application of it. And you see, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking. Why? Because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. And the second reason why I'm excited to have the amazing, incredible Mackenzie on the show is for the sake of the audience. You see, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got lots of information flying out there. So those folks trust me for quality, high up man, and very important information, of which I am totally convinced, Mackenzie, that our conversation is gonna be insightful and impactful. So for that reason, Mackenzie, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or your professional journey, because right now we are so curious. We want to know how Mackenzie got here. Then afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Mackenzie, over to you.
It sounds great. Thank you, Elijah. So it really all started back in middle school, the ripe age of 11, 12, in the fast food line of a Burger King, which all great stories start, right? And at the time, I remember being on a road trip with my family. And, I was just an average kid back then. Wasn't super great at sports, nothing crazy. I did soccer, volleyball, dabbled here and there. Was a little bit overweight, never really felt in tune with my body. And I remember being in that Burger King line, and my father had asked what I wanted. And I had asked for the number one, which at the time was a triple quarter pounder. So it was a big meal. And he turned back slowly and he said, "I will not be getting that for you." And something in me switched that day. I think it was a reckoning and realization of how I was using food to cope with a lot of different pains that I felt and not feeling in tune with myself and happy with myself. And the next day, I started running. I had no running shoes. I had no sports equipment. I just started running. And I eventually got fast enough where in PE, we did a mile every single week. And the coach said, "Wow, McKenzie, you're actually really fast. The cross country girls are coming to speak next week and you should go listen to them." And at the time I was like, who am I to be potentially thinking about joining a sports team, right? Like, I'm just middle of the road, average at everything. And I ended up going to that talk and I could just feel the excitement, the exuberance, the passion they had for their sport. And I decided to sign up. So that took me on a 4-year journey of diving into running and really being all consumed by running. And, at the time it served its purpose. I met some great people through it. I had some great coaches, great mentors. I learned a lot about myself, but it ended up leading to patterns of overexercise, undereating, being in a really unhealthy place. My body, I was way underweight. You could see my collarbone. I lost my menstrual cycle for 4 years. And so I went to the other extreme from where I was in middle school. And it gave me a sense of control, but not a healthy sense. And it wasn't until my friend, who was a power lifter at my college, introduced me to the squat rack, where my life truly changed. From that day, instead of chasing being as small as possible, I started chasing being as strong as possible. And that pivot and focus really changed everything for my mentality. From that day, I realized how special it is to be able to give that to people. And so that's why I've made it my mission to help others who have been caught in the same cycles of undereating, overtraining, trying to become as small as possible, shrinking themselves to society, to instead chasing being strong, capable, powerful, confident, empowered. Because I really do think that it goes so much further than just the barbell or the dumbbells. What you become in the making of that is someone who is confident in themselves and confident in your abilities. And so it transcends everything. So that is why I have dedicated my life to helping people find that and to feel good in their skins, because, we're only here on this earth for however long. We don't know, right? But you might as well enjoy the home that you're in. Our bodies are home. And so I help people come home to themselves and feel good with themselves. And it's so rewarding. I can't even express how rewarding it is.
Amazing. Helping people come home to themselves and feel good. That's a great one, Mackenzie.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for the wonderful stuff you're doing. And thank you for sharing all of that. So, I've got some questions here for you. Are you ready for me?
Yes.
All right. So earlier you talked about, losing weight. And so why is losing weight easier than keeping it off? Got that?
Yes. Yeah. So losing weight is actually fairly easy. I could take anyone who wants to lose weight and have them drop calories, exercise 7 days a week, and they will lose weight. Does that mean that's the right weight? No. I could take your leg, Elijah, and I could cut it off and you would lose 20 pounds. Does that mean that's good or that's what you want? No. So how you lose weight really matters. And when you go into a crash diet, like I mentioned, where you cut your calories, you excessively exercise, what happens is your body adapts, right? We're evolutionary beings. We want to survive. And so our body is like, okay, we're getting less calories and we are moving and exercising more. So your body is going to burn less calories to become more efficient so that you don't die. And so eventually your body is going to meet you at the calories that you're eating. And so you can no longer lose weight at 1,100 calories, let's say. Now you have to eat 800 calories. And then your body's going to adapt. And then you have to eat 500 calories a day. And then eventually, you're not doing so well, right? Who wants to eat 500 calories a day? That's just not sustainable. So where people go wrong is losing weight the wrong ways. And what I really help people do is to get to a place first to where they can lose weight, because a lot of people are metabolically unhealthy and are under eating and over exercising already. And so I do something called a reverse diet to get their metabolism, hormones in a good place to where we can then cut calories from. So it's really key to keeping off the weight. If not, people are just going to be stuck in that yo-yo diet. I'm sure you've had people in your life, you've seen people
I tell
on
you.
social who have just done the same yo-yo diets every single year. It's a new year. I'm going to lose weight. They lose the 10 pounds and guess what? They gain it back and some. So how you lose weight and the process and method really matter, and doing it in a healthy and sustainable way.
A sustainable way. I got that. So how can people improve nutrition without counting calories?
Yeah, so some of my biggest staples. Number one, eat whole foods. So eat majority whole foods, as natural as you can find them, right? Let's go for some greens. Let's go for some animal meats. Let's go for some potatoes. The problem with processed foods that people don't understand is that these foods are genetically engineered from these big food companies to make you overeat. Because think about it.
Wow.
If you overeat the product, that means more money for them, right? So it is it's dark behind the scenes, but you have to really think about that. They took scientists from big tobacco companies and they put them into big food companies to engineer these foods to be hyper palatable, to be addicting. So processed foods are genetically engineered to make you overeat. Stick with whole foods. You're going to feel fuller, faster. You're going to feel better. You're going to perform better. Number two, eat your protein first in every meal. So whether you're eating animal proteins or if you're vegetarian, whatever your protein is, eat that first, because you have to have a certain amount of protein per day to maintain your muscle and to survive. It's an essential macronutrient. Once you eat your protein, then you can go for your veggies. Once you eat your veggies, then go for your carbs and sweets. So that's just a simple switch of the order of the foods in which you eat that can make a big difference. Protein also has the loudest satiety signal, meaning that it makes you fuller, faster, and for longer. So this is very important. If you are trying to lose weight, then you'll get fuller faster by eating your protein first, so that maybe you don't want as much as that cake as you would if you didn't eat your protein first. Yeah, whole foods, eating your protein first, and hydrating. Most people are not drinking enough water. And so I aim for about half your body weight in ounces of water as a minimum. If you're dehydrated, you have brain fog, low energy, your joints feel stiff. So it's really important. And people sometimes forget that you have to drink water, a certain amount of water too, to function and feel optimal.
This is beautiful, and thank you for explaining that. Whole foods, eating your proteins first, and drinking enough water. I got that. That's a beautiful, and thank you for sharing that. Okay, so let us talk about fitness. All right. So, what is the biggest misconception about fitness?
Biggest misconception. I love this question. The biggest misconception is that more is better. We've been trained in our lives to think that the harder you work, right? Think about your job or for school. The harder you work, that typically resulted in better results, better performance, a promotion, higher grades, right? When it comes to fitness, that's actually the opposite. More is not always better. A lot of people think you have to be working out 5-6 days a week. Once you're over exercising like that, you're not actually giving your body any time to adapt. So there's recovery, right? So like you do a workout, you recover back to baseline. If you're always stuck in just working out, recovering back to baseline, working out, recovering back to baseline, you're never actually adapting, which is that next level. So if you don't give your body time to actually adapt, which is that next level, then you're always going to be stuck in the recovery trap and you're never actually going to progress. And I see this all the time in my group fitness classes. People who are addicted to that high cortisol, high intensity workout, they come 6 days a week and then they complain that they haven't made any progress. You have to take rest. You have to take at least, I would say, 2 to 3 days of rest per week. And so people think more is better. So they think, oh my gosh, I have this big weight loss goal. That means I need to add 30 minutes of cardio per day on top of the 1.5 hours of strength training, 30 minutes of bike riding. But more is not better when it comes to fitness. And that's probably the biggest myth that I have to retrain people to think, because everywhere else in our life, more has rewarded us, but it is not the case with fitness.
Thank you. So we have two more to go. All right. So what client success story has stayed with you? You've got any?
Yes, I do. So I had a client who fell into that more is better type trap. And she was a 46-year-old. She was single, not married, didn't have any kids. And she had grown up in the era where Atkins diet and Weight Watchers and Kate Moss figure of being so skinny, it looks like you're on drugs, was idealized. And she had always been taught that women should not lift weights, they should do cardio, and they should basically eat like a bird. And so with us working together for over a year, I had to mostly work on the mindset. So yes, we're working on bodies, but I had to mostly work on the mindset. And we started doing some traditional strength training, low reps, high weights, and eventually over time, she started focusing on other things outside of her aesthetics. So instead of being so hyper focused on what she looked like, she started to notice how much energy she had. She said that she could walk up the stairs at her work easier. She said she could lift the suitcase above her head on the airplane without needing help. She even got to a 205-pound hip thrust. And she would get so excited about hitting these goals. And it just shifted focus from being so hyper focused on this one thing, which is weight, right? And when you hyper focus on that, you miss all these other beautiful things that are happening around you with your strength, your hair and nails being healthier, your relationship with fitness and food being better, your relationship with others being better. There's so many other ways to measure progress. And so it was about shifting focus, and it really changed her life. And she said, that our workouts and our sessions would be the highlight of her week sometimes, because she had never felt so good with herself. And that just really resonated with me, being able to take her from that negative place of what society told her she should look like and what types of exercises she should do, to empowering her to lifting heavy and feel good in her body. So it was great. Yeah, it was really rewarding.
That's amazing. That's amazing and very, very powerful. The fact that you understood that it's a work that should be done just on the body, but it should also begin from the mind. That's a great one. And that shows how smart you are. Thank you for doing that. Okay, so the last one. Yeah. You mentioned while you were talking that what you do gives you so much fulfillment and you really enjoy doing it. So I wanted to ask, what is the most rewarding part of your work?
That's a great question, Elijah. The most rewarding part is being able to see people finally be happy with themselves. Because I think a lot of times when people come to me, they're coming to me because there's some element of their life or their body image or their capabilities that feel less than and that they feel unhappy with. And so when I'm able to show them that they have that inner strength, inner resilience, inner confidence that they didn't know that they had, it's always been within them, and I'm able to show them that, it's so empowering. And that carries so far beyond just the four walls of the gym. It goes into their life, how they show up with their kids, how they show up with their friends, in their jobs. They have a renewed sense of self and confidence. And I don't think there's anything that can beat that. So I think I have the coolest job in the world.
Yeah. I tell you. And thank you for, keep doing it, not giving up, because I believe there are times when it could get so tough, but here you are still doing it. I love that. I love that. Yeah. So finally, what would you like to leave the audience with, like a final thought? And to those folks who like to reach out to you, learn more about the wonderful stuff you're doing, or even ask you questions? How can that be possible?
Sure. My final message is the best exercise and diet for you is the one that you enjoy. So find whatever type of movement that gets you out the door, gets you excited, and do that. So at the end of the day, in order for this to be long lasting, you have to enjoy it. And so no one should tell you what that looks like. Just find what you love and do that. If you guys are interested in learning more about me, reaching out, I have an Instagram and it's at McFitty_J. So MCFITTY_J. And then I have a website, moreconfidentfitness.com. That's my business name, is More Confident Fitness, because I'm all about bringing people confidence. So I have that website and then Instagram as well.
Beautiful. So that's going to be the end of the show, McKenzie. Thank you for coming and thank you for sharing this wonderful stuff with us. It means a whole lot. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elijah.
Okay.